Hell's Pells. Oh, Hell's Pells. Peace and light, old guys. Australia, like, share, subscribe, Instagram and YouTube. You can find me on Facebook if you want to go that way. Hit the notification button and you'll know when I'm doing the video. But like, share, subscribe. It's really important. So, this is yet another video I wasn't thinking about doing, but you know how things go. Go to my Facebook page. You'll see I've done a large post on this topic on the wonderful Archbishop of Sydney and Melbourne here in Australia. First man to head up the Vatican finances, Mr. George Pell, who's recently deceased during a botched operation in Rome, where he was undergoing hip surgery. Didn't come out, had heart complications and didn't come out of the surgery. Now there's a lot to be said about that because there's theories woofing around in the internet. But George, I've written my post there. You can go and read it. It's lengthy, but it's only about a tenth of what I wanted to write, but I couldn't put it all in there. And I had a wonderful discussion with Sam McClellan on there. I'd urge you to follow Sam. Go to YouTube, type in True Arrow. Sam does tremendous amounts of videos. He's very, very professional. Got a huge base of followers, unlike myself. A bit of an influencer to Sam. And well done to him because he's very, very good at what he does and he's a good researcher. So him and I agreed to disagree and that's okay. But I'll still follow his posts. See, that's how it goes. You haven't got to fall out over this shit, you know. Now, there will be a little bit of language in this because I know I tried to do a video just a minute ago and so this is my second attempt. And I get a bit wound up and you'll understand fully why, because when people start apologising for things when you know it's insincere, that really gets my goat. Well, it started off this morning with Tom Perrottet, the Premier of New South Wales, who's come out to apologise because 100 years ago when he was 21 and had a 21st birthday party and he obviously had all dress-ups, poor old Don made the mistake, which wasn't then but it is now, of going in a Nazi uniform. So, Dom's come out ahead of the curve. This is hilarious. If you want to know how politics works, take a look at this. The photo hasn't surfaced of Dom Perrottet, but his spin doctors have found out somebody's got the photo. Because the elections are coming up, right? So the opposition's got their dirty little grubby fuckers, and that's what they are, digging for dirt on Dom Perrottet to make him, paint him in a bad light. Now, Dom Perrottet has got his own dirty little fuckers digging for information on the opposition. This is how this grubby shit works. So his spin doctors have found out. They've got hold of a friend of theirs, a friend of Dom Perrottet's from all those days back, and they just happen to have a photo in their album, and they want to make 10 grand, so they're going to sell it to the opposition so they can use it against Dom Perrottet. So his spin doctor said, Dom, you got to get ahead of the curve. Just get out and say, I believe there's a photo doing the rounds somewhere. I'm terribly sorry that I did what I did. I've offended the Jewish community. And the face on the man. You got to watch it. It is absolutely pathetic. It is just woeful. Tom, you're never going to get to Hollywood, son. And by the way, I saw you walking out to the interview. Get to fucking Macca's and have a feed, mate. You look anorexic, son. Go and have a feed, will you? Someone get a man a fucking steak, will you? It's pathetic. So, good southerly, you'd end up in fucking Townsville. Dom. Pathetic. Now, George Pell's no different. Now, the opinions on George Pell vary from I hate the man to he's God. And I have had my inbox full from messages from people, and I've tried to get back to everybody. I've had the trolls working overtime, you have no idea. And it's just been relentless what I've had to put up with, and I'm not happy, which is why I'm doing the video. Very hot topic. Now, the Catholic Church always said give me a child till they're 5 and I'll give you Catholic for life. And I've seen that happen, where you've got people who were no longer practicing Catholics in a sense, but boy, oh boy, do they defend the faith. And that's how it goes. And I get that. I understand that. Please don't make the mistake of thinking that I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. I may not know every damn thing about this particular topic, but I was heavily invested in it during the time of the Royal Commission because I've got skin in the game, having come from an institution here in Sydney. So I've got skin in the fucking game. And I suffered horrendous abuse as a child, and I'm not going to ignore a Royal Commission into child sexual abuse within the church. It's not going to happen. So when it came about, I was heavily invested in it. I read the transcripts, I followed the trial. I was so angry that so many questions were never asked. And the questions that were asked in some instances were not the way they should have been asked, because they didn't give them the right answers. Didn't get the results that were necessary. But I'm not a litigator, and I wasn't a defence attorney, and I wasn't a prosecutor, so I had no idea. I couldn't do it. So I was really pissed off with the way that panned out. Now, Pell, as we know, was found guilty. That in itself was a little, a bit sketchy, relying on the testimony of one man, the other one being dead. And he had his supporters, particularly guys like Andrew Bolt, who had diagrams on his show showing this and there's the sacristy and there's this, on and on and on. But you had, John Howard and Morrison, you had Jeff Kennett, you had Tony Abbott. They were all bloody supporters of George Pell. Now, my opinion on that is if we didn't have a Christian Prime Minister in John Howard who placed a 90-year suppression order on the Woods Commission report which names 28 current and serving and politicians and high-profile societal people like police commissioners and magistrates and barristers and Christ knows what, company heads, who are known in police files as pedophiles or the rapists and molesters of children, if we knew who that 28 people were and those Christian Prime Ministers such as John Howard, who slapped the 90-year suppression order on that report, hadn't done so, I'm pretty sure you'd find some of these names in there. By the way, we know who the names are, they're just not public. Now, we had another Christian Prime Minister just come and go, and Scott Morrison, he didn't do a damn thing about it. Him of the Hillsong, who's founder, well, not his founder, the sons of the founder, had covered up his dad's pedophilia for 30 years and then used the coverage of the church to try and get out from underneath it. And the police commissioner who was investigating him attended Hillsong, took him 10 years to charge him, and then when he went to be charged, Prime Minister Morrison gave him a tip-off and he went overseas to Texas, so he was charged via Zoom. They're all in this together. Trust me, they're all in this together. You just don't know who they are, but we've got a really good idea. So when it comes to Pell, if you want to defend Pell, don't come to my page. You just don't even bother, right? Because I'm not interested in whether or not he raped a couple of kids in the sacristy or whatever he did. He didn't have time and they did timelines and shit, whatever. Let's put that aside and say he's innocent of that and he's innocent of this and he's innocent of that. My firm belief from all the evidence I've poured over and been through, from the witness statements I've read, the whole thing, my firm belief is that George Pell knowingly hid pedophilia within the Catholic Church. And that he did by ignoring certain things, various payoffs to various people, moving priests to different parishes where they raped other bloody kids. Lots of stuff. Did he know about it? Yes, he knew about it. If he knew about it, then he's fucking guilty. Boom. Right? How many priests were charged? How many fucking priests were charged? When he went to Melbourne and set up his little virtue signalling committees down there with the healing and everything else and coming out and making this public apology, what did you think that was? He was on a mission. He was given his orders by the Catholic Church and he went to fucking Melbourne and set those committees up as Archbishop, and he had people come forward. The Catholic Church told him, get these people to come forward, get them out of the woodwork, make it look like we're very sincere, we're very apologetic, we're very sorry for everything that fucking happened, get them to come forward and we'll pay them off, and that'll get them out of our hair, it'll shut them up and they're gone. Make sure the lawyers, you instruct the lawyers, that the church has no liability in this. We're not going to accept responsibility and we're not going to be held liable, but we'll pay them off, then get them to sign a non-disclosure agreement so they can't talk about this. Because if they fucking do, you make sure you tell them, we will chase them down and sue their fucking asses. We'll get every bit of that money back and take their fucking houses and cars and shit off them. We will sue their asses. That's how sorry the church was. That's how sorry the church was. Oh my word. Right? That's how sorry George Pell was. He was given a bloody commission to go there and do it. And he did it. Beautifully. And it made it. The media was complicit. They made out like George was a fucking saviour, interested in saving the church and uncovering this dirty, dirty pedophilia. The church had to throw some people under the bus. One guy got jailed. They've got to make it look like they're investigating it. It really was. The garbage bin was overflowing. They had to empty it. A ceiling cap of $50,000, which was eventually taken up to $75,000, and that was not for every case that was proven, by the way. That was just for some. And George Pell, had over 300 fucking cases that he found were proven true. Right? 300 cases of sexual molestation, and one fucker gets jailed. None of them get defrocked. And that's how many instances? Let's say 3. Let's say 3 cases per fucking person. That's 900 cases. How many died? How many committed fucking suicide? How many moved out of the country and weren't here? How many were too embarrassed or ashamed to come forward? How many were there? Oh, how many were there, George? They asked him this at the Royal Commission. Oh, I haven't got a fucking clue. The predecessor, Archbishop Little, he destroyed a lot of the evidence. It's not here. I've never seen it. Lying fuck. Right? You think he didn't know? He was sent there. They fucked Little off and they put him in the office to clean up his mess because Little just made such a disastrous fucking effort down there and it was becoming too big. That was Pell's role, to go down there and clean up the shit the Catholic Church had fucking made down there. How many victims were there? Who fucking knows? But it wasn't 300. God. How can you absolutely absolve this? What do? Go on a confessional? Oh, God goes, yeah, no worries, sweet as brother, off you go. That kind of shit, boiling blood. Boiling blood. George Pell was the face of this, put there by the Catholic Church deliberately to make out that they cared. $50,000 for a $6 trillion billion fucking company. The organisation that owns most of the fucking beautiful properties around the world. The amount of money the Catholic Church has, is obscene. Absolutely obscene. $50,000 for fucking destroying your life. Let me tell you, any institution that covers itself as a godly, moralistic, ethically proud benchmark. Any institution like that people invest themselves into and trust in and have faith in and have commitment to and put time and effort into and believe in, if somebody within those organisations takes that child and destroys their fucking life, destroys their souls, destroys them to the point where they can no longer put together the fucking pieces of their lives, leaving them with no future, without pain. Don't even bother coming near me to defend that. Don't come near me to defend that. And don't try and defend it by saying, well, the Buddhists do it. Or what the fuck ever. We're talking about the biggest organisation on the face of the planet with the most amount of pedophilia involved at it. In fact, it's in its core. You multiply that by the amount of countries around the world. And then come back to me with a figure of how many people do you think has been abused by this fucking organisation. Destroyed. Not to mention the amount of being paid off. Shut the fuck up. Go away. Here's 50 grand, you piece of shit. Fuck off. Really? You think that's appropriate? Oh, well, he was making an effort? Bullshit. Virtue signalling shit by the church. That's all it was. When he was taken to court and that whole court case went on, I was like, oh man, they're going the wrong direction with this. They're not asking the right questions. They're never going to get the right answers. It was a charade. The whole thing was a fucking charade. Well, George Pell got put in front of the finances, in charge of the finances for the fucking Vatican. And he was sent to Rome as the first man in that position. Now, if you think that out of the thousands of people within the Catholic Church that could have taken up that position, that George Pell was accidentally picked and he got over there and started looking at the finances and found things he should never have found, so they had him killed, makes for a great story. In fact, Tom Hanks, the pedophile, could probably play that and Dan Brown could write the script. You know? It makes sense if you believed it, but it's bullshit. It's absolute shit. If you think that organisation is so stupid to handpick a man who would reveal their dirty secrets and expose the crap that they know is there, accidentally, whoops. It'd be fucking brain dead to think that. It's not even possible. It's not possible. Not likely, not possible that they would handpick somebody who would go and investigate them and reveal them and expose them. And then have to fucking knock him off the planet with a bodgy fucking hip operation and then he get a heart attack. There's a guy, you know, the anaesthetist. Carbon dioxide. Deary me. Makes a great movie plot. He was handpicked for that position because it was one of them. He was balls deep in them, and that's a great pun for the Catholic Church. He was balls deep into it. You know, anything the Catholic Church has ever done to publicly defend itself has been a token gesture. And it's all been picked up by the media and controlled to make sure that the media only gives enough and the public only get enough to think that this organisation is really trying to fucking right the ship. And while they're doing that shit's still going on underneath there. Nothing's changed. It's all surface. You know? Bit of a scrape back and a coat of paint and she'll be right. The fucking wood's rotten. It's the worst organisation under the sun. Sorry to all you Catholics, but I've had enough. My fucking message bank's full. Trolls are in the fucking woodwork. I've had great feedback. I've had shares. I've had other people calling me the biggest prick under the sun. That's okay. You want to do that, that's fine. I can have my opinion. I have skin in the game. I followed it closely. I know exactly how I felt and I know exactly what my beliefs are based on what I know and what evidence I read and my own opinions. That's it. You want to love George Pell? Go for your life. But as far as I'm concerned, Pell's in hell.